only when we acknowledge that it's not supposed to be easy can we then do the work that we're meant to do and know that we're going to come out a different person when we're finished with it. This is Lead with Culture. I'm Kate Volman, and on this episode, we get to hear from Matthew Kelly himself on the topic of life is messy. Life is messy. It's one of the titles of his books. And not only that, but life is difficult. But even though life is difficult, it is still incredibly rewarding and fulfilling, especially when we are doing what is meant for us. So let's hear what Matthew has to say.
Not only is life messy, but life is difficult. We can accept that or get aggravated, but we can't change it. The mistake we make with varying degrees of awareness is that we believe that life should be easy, or that we would be happier if life were easy. We often torture ourselves when we conflate easy with good or difficult with bad. Easy isn't necessarily good and difficult isn't necessarily bad. This false belief leads to a clash of the titans between reality and our illusions. The easy life is a mirage. Those who chase this illusion end up angry, broken, disappointed, cynical, and often resentful. Anyone who thinks life should be easy will lack empathy for others in their struggles. They'll also lack empathy for themselves when they are being tossed about by life's difficulties. In the extreme, when their own life gets difficult, they may come to believe that there is something wrong with themselves. The problem isn't that life is difficult. Life is supposed to be difficult. The problem is that we expect it to be easy, either consciously or subconsciously, or we try to make it easy. Life proposes a series of challenges, dilemmas, problems, dissatisfactions, heartaches, and opportunities. How we respond to these events determines the direction and quality of our lives. But we have become so expert at problem solving that we think that life itself is a problem to solve. But the life is difficult problem is unsolvable because it isn't a problem. We set out to avoid all difficulty and friction. This is impossible, so we become agitated and angry. We shun anything that will bring us stress. Pain is unacceptable in this paradigm, so each time we encounter it, we try to numb it. All our efforts to avoid the difficulties of life lead us away from everything that is deeply satisfying. If your goal was an easy life, would any of the following be possible? Meaningful relationships, deeply satisfying work, health and vitality, raising children, starting a business, or the mastery of any profession or hobby. None of these would be possible if your goal was an easy life. What are you avoiding that you should be confronting? This quest for the easy life leads into the abyss of comfort. We begin to see comfort as the antidote for everything that is difficult. But soon, the comfort turns to pain. I know, it's a paradox. How can comfort be pain? But it's real. It may not be physical pain, but emotional pain and spiritual angst. We're not made for an easy life. That's not our purpose. So with each attempt at the easy life, we inflict acute emotional suffering upon ourselves. We now find ourselves at a junction. We can return to reality and face head-on the difficulties of life, or we can allow reality to continue to crash against our illusion of an easy life. Many choose their illusions. They continue to pursue their illusions of an easy life, but they end up suffering more for their avoidance than they would have suffered if they had simply embraced the difficulties of life. Having abandoned the path that leads to everything deeply satisfying in pursuit of the easy life, they become miserably discontented and spend their lives complaining about everything and everyone. Only a fool makes an easy life his ultimate goal. When human beings are at their best, they face the difficulties of life head on. They learn to delay gratification, embrace reality, release illusions, accept responsibility for their lives, and live in the wisdom that the most satisfying experiences are often difficult. Life is messy and life is difficult. You're not doing it wrong.
You're not doing life wrong. I love this because it can be really challenging when we think that everything is supposed to just be easy. And then we wonder what's wrong with us, what's wrong with what it is that we're doing, instead of just leaning into the fact of, hey, okay, this is challenging, this is difficult, and we get to do it anyway. We get to do it anyway because what's on the other side is meant for us. And so I love this message that Matthew shares. He's so good at really helping us take these big ideas and simplify them, give us a different perspective on life and how we approach things, how we approach challenges, and really see things a little bit differently. When I listened to this particular message from him, I thought about how easy it is for us to be in the messy middle of life, of something that maybe you're in a transition at work, maybe you are dealing with someone in your family who is sick, or you're just kind of feeling anxious and overwhelmed and you're not quite sure what your next move is, what your next step is, where you want to go in your life. And those things are okay, but they're uncomfortable. And we feel like, oh, I just need the answer. I just want everything to work out. I just want things to be easy. But if we do what Matthew says and we just acknowledge the fact that life is difficult, then it's easier for us to step into those phases and periods of transition, to step into the messy middle and know that you're going to come out the other side a different person, someone that has gained new skills, that has had new experiences, that has maybe met some people along the way that you never would have met otherwise. I just got off a call with a leader and he is dealing with a lot of challenges in his business. They have about 200 employees and there's a lot that goes along with that. And he's really frustrated. And the past year and a half have been very challenging for him. There's been a lot of difficult situations that he's had to maneuver through. And he doesn't give up. He recognizes and realizes that as a leader, this happens. We're constantly in this phase of transition. We're in this phase of being in the messy middle in different times of our lives, in different periods. And we get to embrace that. But only when we acknowledge that it's not supposed to be easy can we then do the work that we're meant to do and know that we're going to come out a different person when we're finished with it. When I wrote my book, Do What You Love, when I was in the messy middle, when I was in the middle of it all, it was so hard. I almost felt like giving up. I almost felt like, is it even worth it? This is hard. Especially when you look at someone like Matthew Kelly, who has written 37 books. It's very different, right? He has that beautiful gift where it comes very easily to him. And this was my first book, so it was hard for me to write and to finish. And I was talking to my coach at the time, my writing coach, and she could feel my frustration. And she said to me, you're in the messy middle. You have to just keep going and stick through it to get through the messy middle. And so that's what I often think about when I'm talking to my friends or clients. And I'm just like, you're in this phase. It's okay. It's not supposed to be easy. You're going to make it through. But that's an empowering thought to know that my goal is not to make it easy, but the goal is to do the work, to do whatever it is that you are meant to do. That's what's exciting. That's what's going to help you become the best version of yourself. Now, that being said, although life is difficult, Of course, we want to make things easier to do. One of the things that we can think that makes it easier to get through the messy middle is, again, acknowledging that life is difficult. But there's something else that I use and I want to share with you. I actually just wrote about this in my newsletter the other week, and I think it is a nice complement to this message. Because when I'm in the messy middle, or when I'm dealing with a challenge, or I'm going through something, or even if I'm procrastinating, have you ever procrastinated on a dream that you have been thinking about for years and you just haven't achieved it yet? You haven't even taken those steps forward. So if I'm in that phase where I might be procrastinating, or I'm feeling a little anxious or discouraged in a decision I have to make or a certain phase of my life, I often ask this one simple question. And I got this from Tim Ferriss. I was listening to one of his podcast episodes. This is years ago. And I thought it was a brilliant question to ask. What would this look like if it were easy? What would this look like if it were easy? And when we ask ourselves that question, what would it look like if it were easy? Then we can take action and take the next step towards our dream. Instead of sitting around and wishing and waiting for it to be easier, or wishing and waiting for our life to just turn around on its own, no, we say, okay, what would this look like if it was easy? And now you're empowered to take the next step. For example, let's say that one of your dreams is to lose weight, be more fit, just feel healthier overall. It's a beautiful dream. In fact, many of our clients have that on their dream list, to just be healthier, to feel better. And it's so easy for us to overcomplicate it. We think, oh, I need to get the new pair of sneakers, or I need to purchase a really expensive gym membership, or we think we have to do all of these things, when that's overcomplicating. That's making it harder than it has to be. By asking the question, what would this look like if it were easy? You have a pair of sneakers in your closet that are just fine, and you can step out the door right now and go for a walk. That is the one simple step that you can take immediately towards your dream. And so asking that question is a really powerful way, especially for those challenges that you might be facing right now. So think about a challenge that you're going through, whether it's in your business, in your professional life, in your career, with your kids, something, or it's one of your dreams, one of your creative dreams. Maybe you have a dream of doing photography or pottery, or learning to play the piano, or writing a book. What would it look like if it were easy? What is the one next step that you can take? And then take it. And from there, you're already going to start to feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more inspired to keep going. And then even when it's difficult, you won't be thinking about the fact that it's difficult. You'll be thinking about the fact that your only job is to do the work, to take the next step. That's it. That's all that you need to do in order to move you towards your dreams. So I really appreciated that message about life is messy, life is difficult. Now keep going. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you found it helpful. I would love to know, what is one action step that you're going to take that's going to make something that you have been putting off, or a challenge that you're facing, a little bit easier, so that you can go after your dreams and become the best version of yourself. You are awesome. Until next time, lead with culture.